You're listening to the Generation X-Wing podcast with your hosts, Anil Sharma, Jamie Millman, Steve 3, and Rob Williams.
Welcome to the Generation X-Wing podcast, a modern look at a retro lifestyle. My name's Rob Williams, and I'm here with
Jamie Pale Rider,
as well as
D3.
Welcome, boyos. Anil can't make it today. He's busy doing stuff. I think he might even he's been telling me he's trying to work one of the games in town. Hopefully he got some work at doing the Kraken versus Canucks game, so doing some photo there. So
that'd be pretty cool if you got the first ever Kraken game in Vancouver.
That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens there. I'm not a big I'm not a big correct that. I'm not a big hockey fan anymore, but it's cool to see Seattle get a team. It's cool to that happen. So
I'm pumped that they went with the name Kraken.
Yeah,
because
cool,
I remember seeing that on the short list of potential names. Mm-hmm. The other ones being like the Sockeyes. Yeah. So
Metropolitans was up there because of the originals.
Yeah. And the Metropolitans I get because of the history there, but like I saw Kraken on the short list. I'm like, that's the coolest one. There's no way they're picking that one because it's the coolest one. It's going to be the Sockeyes because salmon. Sure. So yeah, I'm very impressed and happy that they went with Kraken.
Kraken is so much more theatrical. So much more theatrical.
It's awesome.
I would go to their games just to hear. I could just imagine it. It's release the Kraken as they all come out through the tunnel. And there's this huge, great Leviathan just looming, and out they come through the mouth, and the tentacles are everywhere on the graphics on the ice.
Dude, if they haven't licensed the clip from the movie where Liam Neeson is Zeus and he says release the Kraken, like what are you doing with your life? Like, go and get that clip.
Yeah,
put it before your hockey game, guys.
Did I understand correctly, though, this is owned by the same company who owns Seagram's as well, hence the S for their logo?
You've gone too deep for me now.
And I think there is some connection to the Kraken. I don't know if it's to do with
the rum.
No, well, is there a Kraken rum?
Oh yeah, there's a Kraken rum.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought maybe there was some connection to the Pirates with Caribbean or something like that. I just started this whole conversation like I don't listen to hockey anymore, so maybe
we've mentioned Anil's name and we have sidetracked like crazy. And Anil won't be joining us, but here's a half-hour sidetrack.
Here's a massive digression.
All right,
we haven't even said what we're talking about today.
Okay,
but spoiler alert, it's not the Seattle Kraken or hockey.
Right.
Welcome to the Generation X-Wing podcast. We're talking about Star Wars Visions, and I'm actually legit happy about talking about this. It's been a while since I've been excited about Star Wars since Bad Batch came out. I'm really excited about Mandalorian, and I was looking forward to this. I've been staying away from all the trailers and information because Jamie just knows, but he taught me well. And he's my master. Just leave your expectations at the door and just allow it to happen, and they will tell you the story they want to tell you. And I've been excited. And we got 9 stories. We got 9 stories that were told to us, all fantastic anime style themed stories that are non-canon. We will be spoiling. All right, so just be prepared for that. We're going to go through each episode, and I got some questions for you. We're going to kind of tease some Dragon's Den type of questions. So I told you guys in advance about this. Hopefully you got the message. But let's talk about how your feelings are about Star Wars Vision. I'll start with you, Steve. What did you think about the whole series as a whole?
Well, I was excited for it to come out. I really wanted to see something different, something different. Knowing that it wasn't going to be necessarily a canon-based thing, it was going to be someone else's vision, hence the title of the Star Wars world. I was excited, but I wasn't blown away. I was waiting for something that was going to be, but I think the reason for that wasn't because it wasn't quality, because there was some quality stuff there. I think it was because I wasn't, before that, an anime watcher, as the genre of anime is concerned. So we've talked about it before where things are too short. but I think the style was, I'm not used to the style. I think I'd had to get used to the style of storytelling through the anime, 30 minutes short almost, because I felt a lot was being forced down my throat, and some of it was a little bit too much. But that was not, I didn't not enjoy it. I did enjoy it, but I wasn't blown away. You know what I mean? I'm not like, wow, that was the best thing ever. That was cool.
What
On
did
to
you
the
feel?
next.
What do you mean forced down your throat? Like just the animation?
The way that the stories are told, the way that the story is explained to you in text, in verbal. Oh, and that's because the other day you went down and bought yourself a cake, isn't it? And that cake turns your stomach, and that's why you walk with a limp. Like that's the kind of storytelling that I wasn't used to. And it was like, oh, okay, well,
It is
okay,
different style of
yeah,
storytelling, isn't it?
yeah, definitely.
So before I get to Jamie, so you don't watch a lot of anime in general, nothing
No.
like Studio Ghibli or Ghibli?
No, I've never. I know of it. I know what it's all about, and I know that all how the characters look and how the characters act. But I've never been one to watch. And again, I'm not an avid gamer either, where you get a lot of anime influence on gaming too. So yeah, I think that's all it was for me. Is just I was like, well, this isn't a normal way of storytelling for me. So it didn't blow me away. But that's not to say it wasn't good, man. It was definitely quality. But yeah.
Jamie, do you watch a lot of anime at all?
Nope. No,
No.
not much at all.
So what did you get? How did you enjoy this collection of shorts?
It was okay. I'm honestly, a lot of what Steve said, and Steve and I haven't spoken. A lot of that rings true for me.
That sounds so terrible.
Which is really funny. Like it was okay. It was the same thing. I was pretty excited to start it, and the first episode was pretty amazing. Like the art style and the animation was pretty awesome.
That was
in all of them.
fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah, the storytelling was just kind of it does seem like it, I don't know if it's a Japanese style of storytelling where there's a shit ton of exposition and just them over explaining everything. But
I wasn't sure whether or not it was almost like a translation thing, where if it was written differently from in a different style, and then you have to overdub it with English speaking, it may not come across as effective as it would do if it was spoken in the native tongue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, and I don't know if that's maybe why, because if you write something, you write it as you would normally say it. And if we are talking about a Japanese influence here, maybe that's just how it's put across, but it just doesn't necessarily transform amazingly when it's converted into English. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those subtitled movies in China where they dub all the stuff in China so you don't have to listen to certain things they don't want you to. It's kind of a little bit like that in some respects, but no, I don't know. I think maybe it's got something to do with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry, Rob.
Go for it.
I was just gonna say it honestly it became a joke at a certain point. I can't remember where. I think it was the robot one, like Toby, where and spoilers, like we're getting into it. Every story basically was about Jedi and lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't deviate from that at all, and that was a little disappointing to me. Like I guess I was hoping to see more, just like Rebels versus Empire, and just like the in the trenches soldiers, maybe some pilot stuff, like some starfighter stuff. But yeah, it was all just Jedi and lightsabers. So at a point, I'm like, okay, the robot one, it's basically Dr. Light and Mega Man. I'm like, there's no way this can be Jedi stuff, and it's Jedi stuff. Like, oh, Dr. Light's a Jedi, and he's got a lightsaber, and now the robot is a Jedi somehow, I guess. Okay.
I mean, if you think about the lore of the samurai and stuff like that, which is what a lot of it is coming from. Everyone was super. All I remember seeing on social media, and I know we weren't, we're trying to avoid spoilers as much as we can, but as soon as I saw everyone that I know posting about, look what I made, because apparently this is cool now, and someone's built a katana handle for a lightsaber blade, or that was the big thing. So you can imagine if you have that, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I don't think it's respect, but you have that thing in your culture, which is the samurai, you're good. You're gonna want to do a lightsabered samurai, which is the Jedi at the end of the day, right? So I can
Yeah.
imagine that's kind of why we saw so many interpretations of it, because that's the ultimate, man. That's like how badass is a lightsaber katana or an umbrella with millions of lightsabers on it. I mean, it's kind of like same thing.
For me, I enjoyed these, especially there was some better than others, obviously. I guess I'm the anime watcher of the group. I was hesitate very strongly on saying expert because I don't watch a lot of anime. My students come and tell me about things like even Attack of Titan. I don't even know pronouncing it right. Attack of Titan, Attack on Titan,
Attack on Titan.
Maybe.
Titan. Yeah, they tell me all about it. My students educate me on this, but at the same time, I am aware of it through Scott's watching habits when it comes to Pokemon, Beyblades, they're Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's like the more commercialized anime. And then I've seen Studio Ghibli's stuff, which is just beautiful. Love it. It's just gorgeous storytelling, but all very different and unique in their own style. I remember watching Akira way back in the 80s and stuff and sitting there like, I don't know what's going on. But then Battlestar Galactic, or Starblazer, sorry, not Battlestar Galactica, Starblazers way back in the 80s. I was in love with that as a kid, with the Battleship Yamamoto and all that. It was just like, my love goes in and out depending on what it is, but there's always that sort of theme. And when you mentioned over explaining, watch an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's just like, it's a two people playing like a Magic the Gathering type of card game, and they have to explain everything to the nth degree. And it's just like, I can't take this. One episode is where two people make a move each, and then that's the end of the episode. And next episode, we're going to make more moves, because it's over explaining sometimes. So there is that sort of style that I see in a lot of anime. That being said, there's some in this group that were just beautiful storytelling, beautiful imagery, and some that just kind of fell a little flat for me. But all in all, I super enjoyed this series, and I hope there is a season 2. But I do agree with you as well, Jamie. Every single one was a Jedi. And to me, that wasn't such a bad thing. But I noticed at the end, I'm like, there was nothing really about bounty hunters. The closest we got was probably maybe the Rhapsody one where...
Even the lead singer was a Jedi, though. He was a Jedi in hiding.
He was a Jedi
in hiding,
but there was a lot. It was like a lot of bounty hunters, and that was about it. And maybe the duel, but that was, it's just like, it was very Jedi heavy. But we came from a whole season of Mandalorians where the Jedi was taking a back seat to the storyline. Bad Batch was taking.
But look at the Star Wars story itself, though, right? You got your kid who doesn't know that he's going to be a Jedi, who gets given a sword, or gets given a lightsaber, and then the story of Star Wars begins, right? So when you think about it, that's the story at the end of the day. And you got the light and the dark. So I know exactly what you mean. I do agree with you. It's like, it would be nice to get another twist or another different story arc. But I can't. It's like that first one, the Duel, that the way that the line that the guy drops, which is I wish. Or is it? I wish I was a Jedi, I think he said, or if only I was a Jedi, because that to me, it sparked a lot of interest, and I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of cool, man. And and just that one episode, that story definitely intrigued me, and I think the art style of it, the way that all the characters are represented, the way it was drawn, the way it went down, and not really knowing what we had there, because I don't think he wasn't a Jedi. We definitely had a Sith influence, because everyone thought he was a Sith, but I don't think he was. He just had a red blade, right? And it was interesting to me. I really enjoyed that first one.
Okay, well, let's dive into it. Let's go episode by episode and just kind of look into what we thought about it. And in the end, I would like us to pick our top 3 and maybe even our favorite one. But the first one being the Duel. Lucy Liu was in this one. I was really happy to see that. This I felt was one of my favorites, because not only do you have, they're playing with my heartstrings when I see a Gran and a Sullust in there, but they had callbacks to like the old aliens we see in the original trilogy but they do it in that whole Kurosawa style, which is like Star Wars borrow from Kurosawa, and these guys borrow from Star Wars, which is borrowed from Kurosawa. It's this nice little echoing that's happening there. As George Lucas says, it's
Rhymes like poetry.
It's like poetry.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was one of my favorite ones. Beautiful style, very limited palette of color, and red when you needed it. The movement, the animation, the storytelling. I really, really enjoyed this one.
It was suspenseful as well.
Yes. What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, I loved the first one a lot. The art style I felt like was probably the most unique out of all of them, and like the animation as well, and like their use of colors, everything like that. It was awesome. It was visually very beautiful.
Did you notice the grainy feel?
Oh yeah,
and it was even like the odd editing, like it was a mistake editing at times where it maybe cut in just a half a second too soon.
It was like it was done on rice paper, like the ink on rice paper type style. That's what I looked. Yeah, it was really good.
So what about you, Steve?
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I love the droid in the hat, and I love the challenge of putting the kettle on and saying you have until that boils to get my droid done, and it all just worked out. Like I said, the whole pace of that one was really good.
I love the character design on these things, like the way they borrowed, like it's almost like these stormtroopers just armor was just kind of coupled together. I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff that was on the extras, and the director really enjoyed putting like stormtrooper gear on naked skin and underwear, and so it's just kind of clapped together, and it was like a bad night at doing a troop for the 501st sort of thing. So
I was hoping we'd see more of that in Mandalorian, to be honest with you. I was hoping we'd see not just the remnant stormtroopers that were dirty and disheveled and just basically done with it and wanting to earn some money. I was hoping we would see bits of armor pieced together, not just from the renegade scum and villainy that have collected it, but from troopers themselves. Are like, well, shit, if the Death Troopers aren't around anymore, I'm going to take that because that one's way more, I'm way more fitting, right? I'm going to wear that one. That one's got a lot more power to it. That one's got a lot more going, and just construct their own armor out of all the stuff that's been laying around, and just
want like the Mad Max Marauders style,
pretty
just
much
finding the stormtrooper armor.
Yeah, but still being under the Imperial hand, but just no, man, I'm taking that one. He doesn't need it anymore. I'm wearing it. Just different helmet or different shoulder piece or different chest piece. I think it'd be kind of cool, and definitely different blasters. If there was a better blaster to have, right? Like why the hell would you keep with that E11? Like you get one of those other ones.
Oh, I love the rail gun that the Star droid had. It just I think that's one of my favorite parts. These other characters that were just kind of defending the village, from the Grand to the Trandoshan to all these other guys, especially the droid. He's just sitting there with that railgun. Fantastic stuff. I also kudos to the Doug driving a Death Star droid. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Anything else to add, or can we jump on to number 2 here? Jump on number 2, Tatooine Rhapsody. Curious about your opinions on this one. What do you think?
I wasn't. It was what I thought I would see. I thought there would be this style coming through, because to me it was very what I imagine seeing on the cartoons that I've seen of anime, and the shows that I've seen in passing. That's kind of what I expected to see at some point. Would be the singing, would be the putting it to music. The pause with the flash behind and the moving. I was expecting that at some point. I mean, it didn't really do a lot for me. It's definitely not on one of my the list of watching again. But again, it's a different style which you have to see, and that's the beauty of what Visions gave us. It gave us many different styles, which whether you like them or not, it was good to see them. So not one of the favorites, but it was fun. It was fun.
What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, this I'm with Steve, but for a different reason. It is definitely more of what I expected out of the whole series, but not so much specifically for the music, but because it was something completely different that we have never seen before in Star Wars. And I was expecting more of that, just out there concepts. So this one, it was a lot of fun because it was different. I don't know why the lead singer needed to be a Jedi, but sure.
Did he ever
guess.
Did he ever say it was wizard? Because I feel he should have said something was wizard.
No, I felt like almost every episode though, someone had to say, "I've got a
Got a
bad,
feeling about this.
Like we get it, guys. It's Star Wars. They say that a lot.
Yeah. I was like either that or I was expecting a Wilhelm scream in every episode, and I didn't get that, thankfully.
Well,
But
maybe
yeah,
maybe that was one of the prerequisites. Okay, we're choosing you. You got to explain a story. It's got to be about a Jedi, and you have to drop the line. I have a bad feeling about
And
it.
you have to have a bad feeling about something.
Yeah.
So, this was an interesting episode. I just listened to Tumbling Saber, and this was for most of them their least favorite, and I can see why. I was watching the episode and like, this is an episode of Pokemon. I totally like, this is what Pokemon gave me. And then when I did a research on the studio, they had done Pokemon. And I was like, yes, okay, I see it now. Because it was, what threw me off was I saw, beginning of the story, they're all, doing the band thing, rock band. And I'm watching the Hammerhead, the Thorin just kind of rock back and forth. And I'm thinking, oh, cool. That's a bunch of kids are enjoying this movie or in this music at a youth club or something like that. And then Boba walks in. I'm like, oh, these are adults. And that's what threw me off. They look like children. And they're dressed like children because of the larger head, shorter body, and everybody is adult, but kind of made childlike. And so I'm like, oh, this is their audience. This is what I'm going to expect now from here on in. And the fact we got Tamora Morrison's voice and stuff was really cool too. But my head just kind of turned immediately into, I'm going to expect a lot of over explaining, as you said, Steve, earlier, a lot of cheesiness, a lot of, I don't want to say camp, but just stuff that's not meant for the adult in me. And I got that. And listening to the music, I want to like the music so much. The singer was so out of tune. It was kind of rough at times, but the music itself was pretty cool. It was what I expected for the music to be, just inspirational and poppy and a little bit
karaoke.
It was also pulling from the Ramones, even, and I was thinking the Ramones or something like that. And then when they mentioned it on the extras, he was pulling from the Ramones, Blitzkrieg Bop. And so I watched it and I was like, okay, I get what's going on here. And the fact that he's telling Jabba one more song, and Jabba's like, okay, kid, you shine me up good. And he's tapping it. And then Boba tapping his foot. It's kind of like, oh, bloody hell. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. He wasn't tapping his foot when Cy Snoodles was singing. He ain't going to tap his foot with these kids.
The best thing about this episode, though, was the pissed off Biff band. It sat in the cantina going, what the hell?
They looked actually quite happy. I thought they were inspired.
I thought they were annoyed that everyone was listening to them and not their tunes.
I thought they were
pissed off.
I totally took it as them being inspired to create their own band, because I felt this happened before episode 1 or episode 4.
Oh, maybe
after Order 66.
Yeah, so. It could be. I thought they were just like, bah, screw these kids.
I think one of the unique ones about this episode was that it was one of the only episodes that involved canon characters. Boba Fett, the Figure and Dan, Jabba, all those guys were canon people. All the other episodes, no canon whatsoever. No mention of Luke, Obi, anything like that. And the fact they dropped an Obi-Wan Kenobi hut, they didn't show him in there, but they showed his hut, and they implying like he's in there. Listen, he's enjoying it quietly. So I liked it, but at the same time, I was like, I think this was directed towards my son more than anything else. So,
which it should be.
Yeah, he watched the first one, was totally like, can I watch Adventure Time now? He was just not interested in this. So I lost him after the first episode, and I was like, dude, this is actually so good. But oh well. Tatooine Rhapsody. So you're giving a thumbs in the middle kind of thing, maybe thumbs sort of tilting downwards.
Give it points for being probably the most unique one of the bunch.
Yeah.
Unique, but using known characters.
Yeah, unique story-wise. Yeah, it was the most unique.
Yeah.
The twins. So this is an interesting one. Alison Brie, Neil Patrick Harris were the voices in this one. What do you guys think of this one?
I
My
wasn't.
background, by the way, if you can see, it's my background. It's pretty.
Yeah. Maybe I got it mixed up. I thought the twins was the one where
That was like the Star Destroyer. They're like double Star Destroyers.
yeah, that I didn't enjoy that one. Again, it was a lot too much going on. I was done with it. There was too much talking and explaining. And then as soon as you put, I know everyone's going to berate me on this one, but don't go out into space with nowhere to breathe, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. It loses me. It just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
The droid had a helmet on. Did you see that at the end?
Yeah, it was almost as if there were, yeah. I this one I wouldn't even. I don't think I'd watch again. This one was not on my list of ones I'd watch again.
Jamie?
Yeah, this one was definitely I would call it just story-wise and thematically the silliest of the bunch. Like, it was just completely wacko.
Made no sense to me, man.
Yeah. Like, it was interesting at first. Like the setup. But yeah, the fight was just insane. Like, it was on some level, I guess it was kind of cool, but yeah, it was a little too silly even for me.
I am way behind you. This is my least favorite by a country mile. I did not know what was going on half the time, despite the fact they explained everything to the 1000th degree. The guy was in space. He went into hyperspeed with a lightsaber the size of a Star Destroyer, cutting it in half, doing the Haldo maneuver without a helmet on. Oh God. And then I was like, okay, it's just over the top stuff. And then when the droid comes in with the helmet on, I'm like, okay, now they're just screwing with me. This was way too weird. And it was silly. But maybe that's what certain people like. I know there's some people out there who like this. It's ironic that it is my background, because there were some parts that were really pretty. In the end, it was beautiful. Twin suns and stuff. You can tell this whole idea of the twins, this alternate universe of Leia and Luke being Sith, I think it's been played around with before. And I kind of like the idea, but this was just like, the animation wasn't even my favorite either. It was kind of like storyboard animation rather than polished animation. It just wasn't my thing.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Next.
Hang on. I know I have notes written here. So yeah, I got
next.
I got the word double guitar. So that's pretty much what this episode is. It's a double guitar. Pointless, meant to look cool, but how the hell do you play it? Number 4, The Village Bride. I'm going to start with this one. This is one of my favorites. Because it surprised me. It was a cool story of in tune with the planet, the Jedi's, you know how the Jedi talks about the midichlorians, and it's all around us. It's in the trees, it's in the air. This is kind of that story. It was well laid out. Yeah, these two Jedi's kind of witnessing this moment and this village. The idea of the husband carrying the bride on a chair was quite, it had me intrigued right off the bat. The guy's helmet, everything about this was really pretty, and it told a lovely story. It was almost a bit like an A-Team episode too, where it's just like the village is in trouble, they got to hire the A-Team, and it just happens to be these two Jedis. But I really love this one. The music was beautiful. It was just enough. And I think this is one of my favorite ones. Simple, I got here, simple, but emotional and strong, and a good story, like the Star Wars, and I like the Star Wars connection. So, and it was, have a bad feeling about this. Was the 3rd in a row. So episode 4, and there was the last 3 had a feeling.
I think it was a prerequisite.
Yeah. So there's the counter right there. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was like you said, there were some really good bits about it, and it didn't shine enough for me to put it on my list of watch again. And you know what I forgot to make a note of, and I really wish I had, and I thought I did, but I didn't, is one of the character voices in there, I was convinced was Harrison Ford. When I looked away from the screen, all I could hear was Harrison Ford's voice. And I can't remember which episode it was now. And I waited to the end, and I had to go through that whole skip to the right to highlight the titles to get it back up onto the screen to then rewind and go and see who was in it. And I did all that, and it wasn't him. And I was convinced. I heard it because I was watching it, and I kind of tuned out a little bit. And I was like, and I can't remember what episode it was now.
That would have been a Star Wars miracle if that was Harrison Ford. Are you talking this episode?
No, I don't think it was.
I think I know I think you're thinking of the Elder.
Maybe it was
the Elder, because the voice in the Elder is very Harrison Ford, but we'll talk about that. Who the voice is actually. Yeah. So, what about you, Jamie? The Village Bride.
I like this one. It was pretty cool. It made sense. It wasn't super silly or anything like that. It definitely had a charm to it.
It was a real calm down after the last episode. Where it's like, ah, okay, now let's just come back to Earth.
No, I think it was more like, don't leave. Check this one out. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet.
It is funny. Like I wonder if that was a conscious decision to take the viewer from an episode that is just 100% screaming and yelling and lightsabers the size of Star Destroyers to a very calm story about the village bride sacrificing herself and being in tune with nature.
It went from a monster drink to a cup of green tea.
Oh, right. That's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Bring me down. Yeah. So I like I said, I really enjoyed this one. One of my favorites. Now looking back at what it followed, maybe that's why. Oh, thank God. It's like a teacher. You just come from a room. I just want to sit in silence right now and enjoy something calm. All right, next one. The Ninth Jedi. My handwriting sucks. The Ninth Jedi.
I like
guys. I say this was fantastic. I wish they had ended the whole series with this episode. I thought this should have been the 9th episode. But you start, Steve. Go for it.
No, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I was like, ooh, all the way through it. What's going to happen here? You know? So yeah, it had me hooked. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a highlight of the series for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole reveal of the dude making the lightsabers and the handing out of the lightsabers. And I was getting a little bit worried when they all met each other for the first time. I was like, oh, is this going to be one of those explain everyone's stories really quickly? But no. And then, I kind of had a feeling the guy would step out the robot. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was good. And the fact that I liked, well, I don't want to ruin it for everyone else, but when she held on to the lightsaber, and it was just like this gray, not dark saber, but gray, not really developed yet, pretty, nothing, meh saber. At least it didn't do the the Family Guy floppiness of the old man. But the colorless blade was kind of cool. And they explained that it would choose its color depending on how powerful you were with the Force. That was
a cool concept. That was a really cool concept. Yeah. Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, at first I thought the kyber crystals reacting to the Jedi that's wielding it, I thought that was a little cheesy. But it ended up leading to a really cool payoff with the reveal of everybody being bad.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty visually striking scene, and just that shock moment of them all coming out red. You're just like, holy shit. So that was pretty cool. And then you get to see like the one guy, his saber going purple, implying that he's kind of in the middle.
Which is interesting, right? Because everyone's always thought that about Mace Windu, right? He had a little bit of bad in him. Super bad. Totally. He's a bad MF.
This was a good one. I enjoyed this one.
This was 22 minutes, one of the longer ones. This is one where I think you should see the extra. They talk about this episode and how they were working with two different ideas: the idea of the Jedi and the idea of the Blade Maker, and they couldn't figure out like which one to do. And so Disney said, well, how would you like to do both? The best of both worlds, and we'll even give you an extra bit of time. And they were like, wow, okay, fantastic. And they build this wonderful story. I love the imagery of this, I don't know, this place where they live, I guess their Hall of Justice sort of
The
thing.
space station thing.
The space station,
like
but
the
upside
watchtower?
down, right? The watchtower, that's what I'm looking for. It's this idea of the watchtower upside down. So you look up to the planet. That's a cool idea. I don't know if I like the idea of them fishing out into space.
Yeah, the
to
whole
me was a hard.
the catapult fly fishing rocks and stuff, that was weird.
That one I
But-
didn't get. It was a cool idea. I think it's a cool idea on paper, but in practical use, it just, to me, didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a lot of, you just can't just shoot a fly fishing thing up in the space. But the whole watchtower thing upside down was a cool concept. The twist was a fantastic. I didn't see it coming. I know some people said they did. I did not see it, and it was a great reveal, great payoff, as you say.
Yeah, it was a cool moment.
But if they were all friends, right? If they were all working together, and the guy was making the sabers, and he was giving him the crystals, and he suspected that he'd heard a rumor that these Sith had infiltrated and killed off the guys that were coming. He kind of left his buddy to perish, right?
Hang on. I don't think they knew who these people were. He did a call out, and these people showed up.
Didn't he say though he'd heard that the Jedi had been slaughtered and these guys had taken their place? I think
he assumed that after the fact. Maybe I got to watch that again. I thought he assumed that after the fact, like, okay, the people who I was expecting to come are obviously been killed and they took their place. But then he did know that other guy with the purple saber. So maybe this is a rewatch for me, and almost one that kind of like, I want to know more, because I want to see them go after the builder. And just the idea of just this one guy building a lightsaber. And we've been so used to a world where part of the ritual is building your own lightsaber. Now it's this one guy who builds it with the symbol of. Cool. Did you see the symbol on the saber too?
Yeah.
We call it the I wanted to say Ahsoka, but it's Fulcrum's little logo.
Yeah,
that was kind of neat.
I thought that was kind of a cool callback to the Clone Wars. How there wasn't necessarily like a sabersmith, but there was a droid who helped younglings build their first saber. Like, he kind of guided them through the process, and he was the expert on lightsaber building. So like, I kind of took it to be kind of along those lines.
Because you weren't allowed to make them anymore, right? And there was no Jedi left to teach them, so that's why none of them had ever held one, because they didn't know how to make them. So yeah, it was kind of cool. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. That one was a watch againer.
I think this one was also so successful because the people who did this were the same people who did Ghost in the Shell, Attack on Titan. I think this is the same group that did this amazing Batman versus Joker, this ninja version of a Batman versus Joker. It was like a samurai ninja. I just watched it. I just watched the fight scene. It was incredible. It was so cool. And I'm not even a Batman fan. I can't stand the guy, but it was cool to see this style. And they were given a lot more leeway in building and creating their story. So much so that I could see this becoming a canon sort of story, pre Skywalker. So I think it's a wonderful story. I want more. All right. Speaking of more, let's go on. TOB1, Toby, or 2B1, or however you want to pronounce it. When you said, okay, so Jamie, when you said Mega Man, I got here Mega Man Arrow Jamie on my notes. I knew you were going to say Mega Man Dr. Light.
Oh, that's not fair, Rob. You're not allowed to be psychic.
Well, that's not psychic. It's knowing my friends. So I know you very well, because some people would have said
Dr.
Astro
Light,
Boy,
Mega Man, or Astro Boy. Yeah, I mean, Mega Man
Pinocchio.
and Astro Boy are basically the same thing, right?
In the end, it's a Pinocchio story. But this, to me, Mega Man, because I didn't dig Astro Boy, I liked Mega Man, and he had that sort of square shape and stuff. It was just so cool. What about you, Jamie? How'd you like Mega Man here?
This again, I don't know if I have a good opinion of this one because I was distracted. One, because of the Mega Man comparison, like that was pretty distracting. But then the other thing that had me distracted too was this was where I started to realize that, oh, every single one of these is going to be about Jedi and lightsabers. I see what's happening here. Because like this was the first one where I'm like, okay, maybe we'll get something different. No, still Jedi and lightsabers. So yeah, I was too distracted.
I can see that now. Yeah. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, enjoyable. Again, I don't really have too much more to say about it. Yeah, it was definitely a Pinocchio story. It was definitely like, okay, he's got so many robots. Why did he just make one of these ones? And then the lightsaber comes out and you're like, okay, all right. I don't know. I enjoyed it and I moved on to the next.
This felt to me like I got the Mega Man vibes. I got the Pinocchio vibes. It felt to me like an old Nelvana cartoon from the 80s in a way. I don't know if it was the animation, which is not very, and Nelvana is not very anime as it is, but there was something rough and muted about the colors and the background. It was something familiar about it that I liked and I didn't like. This whole story of the Jedi and stuff was in the background. It took me a while. I even noticed he was missing arms.
Took me a while to figure that one out too. I was like, he's got no arms.
But this was a slow build for me. I know a lot of people like this one because how cute Toby is. I saw Toby. I didn't even get the reference of to be one, as in to be one with the Force. And for some reason that one kind of slipped by my mind. But I like it in the end. It's not my favorite, but I kind of wish the animation was just a tad different in this one, a little more cleaner. But that's just a choice rather than anything
the
else.
Best one about this episode was the little robot going on his back and making him into a jetpack. That was cool.
Yeah,
like a little transformer and a little jetpack. That was kind of cool.
The idea of a robot Jedi I love that idea. I mean, we remember way back when people would joke around how R5D4
but
Jedi.
The Force only surrounds all living things, right? So a robot technically isn't living thing.
Well, I think therefore I am. Some people would argue.
You, sir?
It surrounds him. It
racist.
Penetrates him, but he's not living.
Binds us together. It's in the rock. It's
and
in the
how
trees,
did
it's
he?
in the robot.
How did he make so many robots with no arms? That's a lot of screw. That's a lot. I mean, he would have no teeth either, holding all those wrenches and shit with his teeth.
He had other robots helping.
Or maybe he's very good with his feet. I don't know.
I've seen people do it. So,
or maybe he just used the Force.
Maybe he just used the
That's
Force.
not how the Force works.
But apparently it does with robots.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I think we're throwing out how the Force works in these. It's gone right out the window.
I'm surprised it wasn't explained to us several times.
I got a bad feeling about that. Number 7, The Elder. I enjoyed this one too. Okay, so I want to talk to you about The Elder. The voice. Is this the one where you thought you recognized Harrison's voice?
I'd have to watch it again, but there was definitely one. If you turn away, it sounded like Indiana Jones. It sounded like Han Solo. I was like,
because the voice was Hopper from Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Very monotone, very calm. I think a lot of people I can see why people wouldn't like this one. I really like the fact he was so understated, so calm, and the young Padawan had a little more guts. I want to get at it, you know, not over the top too though, which was what I really appreciated. It was understated at the same time. It wasn't put him up, you know, kind of. It wasn't any of that garbage, but you can tell he was eager. He wanted to get out there.
He's like Caleb Doom.
I guess so. Who?
Caleb Doom.
Who's Caleb Doom?
Come on, Rob.
Help me out here.
Kanan. The
for crying out loud. Sorry.
That's twice. That's twice now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I definitely got the Caleb vibe as well. That was cool.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Jamie, you too.
Yeah, this was
done.
I agree with Steve. No, this one was fun. Yeah, I think, Rob, I completely agree with what you said. I couldn't have said it better. It's just understated. Like, it wasn't overdone. They didn't have like amped up crazy personalities. Everybody was pretty grounded. I liked the personalities of both the master and the apprentice, like the Jedi. And the apprentice, like, He wasn't annoying. He was eager without being annoying. It was cool to see just that. It felt like a real interaction with him, just like bonding with those kids in the village, and forming that attachment. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Did you get like Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn vibes on this one?
Yeah, I definitely got Qui-Gon vibes from the master.
Maybe Qui-Gon and Anakin more than anything else, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
It
think he
was-
was.
it
I
was
don't think
cool.
he was Anakin enough.
No.
I don't know. I think the kid, like Jamie said, the kid was a lot more grounded. It wasn't so. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Because even when the crazy old dude turned around and said to him, "Oh, I was hoping for someone a little bit more powerful. I haven't had a challenge for a while." He's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be that easy, man." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't like, "Yeah, wait till you try me." He knew where he was at. He knew what he had, but he didn't want to let his master down, right? So yeah, I liked it. It was good. And the crazy old dude was creepy as hell, man.
yeah.
You know who did the
know?
voice of that one?
No,
James freaking Hong. I love
Nice.
James Hong. Oh, dude, I love James Hong. He's in his 90s now.
that's cool.
God, everything he does. I mean, I'm still one of my favorites is Big Trouble in Little China. And he's playing the little video games with his pinky.
But the whole destroying of the craft at the end puts that edge of mystery to it that makes you want to get a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Why did he destroy the craft? What was in there? What the hell is this story? Like, why does he just want to destroy everyone? Usually, if he was an evil Sith guy, he'd be looking for an apprentice, right? So, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I like the style of fighting in this one. It was reminiscent of episode 1, where Darth Maul is kind of at it and moving and really aggressive, and Qui-Gon was calm and just meditating at times. And so in the battle where he's got the electricity, and the only way he could win was by turning off the blade,
Which was
sliding
a cool
in,
move. That was
turning
cool
it on
move.
again. And it was just calm and cool, and it was the thinking of a master, and it was a really cool idea. So really enjoyed this one. It's not my top 3, but it's really, really close. And strangely enough, this is Trigger Studios this is the same studios that did the Twins, which is very different.
Very.
So what's also interesting, listening to the extras on this one, as Mashika Aksuda, I'm probably mispronouncing that one, the director of this episode, he was going to retire from the studio and just kind of, he's a long, successful career. Then he got this job to do Star Wars, and says, well, I can't retire just yet. And so this is his last, as far as we know, this is his last episode as a director. And he says it's kind of touching in a way and kind of meaningful, because he remembers when he was a young animator, and now he is the master, retiring, and then letting his people take over and going to this new world of animation. And so the master is coming to an end, and it's this whole, as Lucas says, what is it, Jamie?
Oh, it rhymes. It's like poetry. Thanks for making me say it again, Rob.
So that's what it is.
Take a drink.
Take a drink. All right. Anything else to add to this one?
Nope.
All right. Let's hop on over to number 8, La Pinocho. I gotta say, this was one of my second least favorite. I was hoping for so much more in this, and it wasn't just the Jackson vibes. I love the idea of a rabbit species. I know Lucas doesn't. I thought this was great. I wasn't expecting Jackson anyway, but she was a really great character. I think this was a story that needed more time to develop. It was too quick on the turn. I love the beginning of how they find Lop and bring into the family. It was quick and frantic a bit, and the fight at the end was pretty cool. The whole giving of the sword and the idea of traditions not based, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's not based on blood or inheritance. Was it
inheritance isn't based on blood?
Isn't based on blood. And again, I'm going to shout out the tumbling saber on their Rey Skywalker. Like, there you go. It's not based on blood. You don't have to be part of the family to be part of the family. So I liked it, but I felt that the sister turn was, there should have been something more in there to develop the turn rather than just say she grew up, she's now this way, and she turns and leaves the family behind. It was, I was being felt a little bit lost on that one. I don't know. What do you guys think?
This one was okay. Yeah, I'm fine with Jackson being a part of Star Wars. Unfortunately, this is another one where it came up and I'm like, of course the dad's a Jedi and has a lightsaber. Here we go.
But was he a Jedi, or was it just in the family?
He had a lightsaber. It was now the rabbit is a Jedi too, I guess.
Well, you don't have to be a Jedi to be able to use a lightsaber, right? We know that because Finn did.
Well, in this world, I think there was a Jedi symbol. It was in the crane, and then eventually in the furniture overlooking. It was implied that he was Jedi because of the passing down in the pictures and stuff.
It was another one where it was, I guess I got excited at the potential of it not being Jedi related or like full of lightsabers. And then near the end, of course, it pops up. It's like, oh, maybe they'll just, they'll form like a homegrown resistance against the Empire and she'll be a big part of it. No. Okay.
Nope. Jedi.
Yep. Nope. Jedi. Yeah. I'm going to get that on a shirt.
Nope. Jedi.
Yeah.
And a sad face. Jamie's just sad face. What do you think, Steve?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked it over some of the other ones for sure. I enjoyed the totally out there character. I enjoyed it, and I didn't think it was all that bad. I know it was rushed as hell in the beginning, but I think it had to be to get to the nitty gritty. And I think that the sister or the actual daughter was used to getting her own way, from what I could tell. And I think that's what bred her to be an easy turn, is because she was pretty selfish and wanted things. She wanted the power, wanted to run the family. And to that point, she had no hesitation to take it on her father for it, right? So she obviously grew up and decided that she wanted the power. And that is what we know attracts the dark side. And it's easy to be overrun once you want all the power. So I kind of liked it. And I like the way she took his sword at the end and she did that cross. I was a little bit confused as to how she could survive, again, on another spacecraft with a massive X cut into her chest. But maybe that was armor and it was just like red hot or something. I don't know. But that was a bit confusing. But I liked it. I'd like to see that ongoing battle now between the non-bloods. It's almost, it reminds me a little bit about, Crosshair and the Bad Batch. There's that little division there. And we don't know if it's all done from rage and selfishness. And maybe they'll team up. Who knows?
That's a good connection, actually. That's a really good connection. I think, I was confused too when you're talking about the sword fight. I mean, Lop hits Ocho off the cliff, and then seconds later she's behind here, raising on the top of a ship with an X across her chest. And I was like, well, that was quick.
But they were on like some sort of space station thing, right? There was obviously like there was a landing area where they were. So
with the extras in this one, they mentioned something in the extras that I kind of wish they had dived into the story more. How this is very much like real life generational thing. The older generation stick to tradition, the new generation think of progress, and that's what the story is about. The daughter wants to maintain her yakuza, I guess, but and we have to make peace with the empire and go along with the progress that's being created. And the father's saying, no, this progress is destroying what we once held dear. And so it's this generational divide that happens between the two people, the father and daughter. But that was super rushed, and it was just, I wasn't buying it at first. So, but I did like the character of Lop. I really enjoyed her, and the father is pretty cool too. He's just the scars all over his face and stuff. So,
and a painless losing of his last eye as well.
Oh, it was quite cool. But
by the way, looks like I've lost my other eye. Might as well give up. Yeah, it's very casual. Very casual.
Last one, AKAKIRI. Do you guys know what AKAKIRI means? I had to look this up after this. It means this red haze or so. I probably mispronounced or understanding that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it means. It's that red mist or red haze that comes at the end of this episode. Again, one of my least favorite ones. I love the idea of the story. I think I was just exhausted. And I think now looking back at it, it's what you said, Jamie. It's another Jedi story. And I think, maybe that's why I was kind of done. I wish they hadn't ended. I think if we ended with Ninth Jedi, it would have left me with a better taste in my mouth. But this ended.
If you just
sadly.
flip flop the beginning and the end. If you flip flop those two, if you ended it on the Duel, I think that would, because to me, I was thinking, well, maybe they saved the best till last, right? Because it was such a modge podge all the way through. I was thinking they saved the best till last. The animation looked like it was going to be pretty badass, and I couldn't even tell you anything about this episode. I was so uninterested in it. I completely switched off, and it just didn't do anything for me.
Duel had to be first, I think. You have to lure him in with Duel. I think you should have ended with Ninth Jedi, because the Ninth Jedi ended in a way where it was hopeful, it was climactic, it was one of the longest ones, and it's just like to be continued. You're hoping for a new season, new story. This one here was just like, oh, this is sad. And this is kind of, I'm exhausted. So what about you, Jamie?
Yeah, it was kind of the same. Like, this one was okay. I like
another Jedi.
I like the samurai setting. At least, like, if they set it up as like a more traditional samurai story, I'm not expecting anything other than Jedi. So I guess that kind of setup probably helped it for me. But yeah, it was okay. It's pretty solid middle of the road for me. If we were to kind of rank them all.
I think what was cool about this one was the idea of the R2D2 C3PO sort of duo that was in here with the two characters. George Takei was one of them, and they were the playful, what do you call it, comedy relief in this one. But they were kind of forgotten in the end, just kind of pushed to the side. The story was kind of cool in a way. I liked the idea of the story. Maybe the animation was a little bit not my style. The music at the end, though, that really caught my attention. I really liked the music and how it ended. I couldn't find it anywhere on YouTube. Is this not a xylophone, but this sort of, it just started to pick up, and it was a nice beat to it. I almost think that they ended this whole vision based on that music alone, because it was kind of, it was doom and gloom, but it was like, well, things are going to get cooking now in this little world. So, but anyways, I was it had reflections of Padme and Anakin, which was kind of neat, of we know how to bring the death back to life sort of thing. So
I can't lose her.
No. So top three, let's first of all pick your top three, Jamie. What were the three? If you have an order, great. If not, just which three really were your favorite?
I mean, it's probably going to be unsurprising, but the Duel, the Ninth Jedi, and the Elder.
Excellent. Is that in order?
I don't know if it's in any particular order. The Duel was definitely my favorite one.
You don't favor your children. I understand. Steve?
I've got exactly the same. I've got the Duel, Ninth Jedi, Elder, Lop and Ocho, and TOB1.
So the Duel was your favorite?
It was my favorite because it had everything going for it.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining and didn't necessarily need to have more. I think it did what it needed to do in the timeline it had. Whereas with the Ninth Jedi, like you said, we needed a little bit more. And I feel the Elder as well could have done with some more. So it was my favorite because it did exactly what it was supposed to do. But yeah, that was the three I had. That was the order I had written down: Duel, Ninth Jedi, and the Elder.
Yeah, mine was the Duel, Ninth Jedi, and the Village Bride. Although Duel and Ninth Jedi are kind of neck and neck, I think. Yeah, and the Elder was a close fourth for me. So, Mike, I asked you earlier off air. We did a kind of Dragon's Den, because this is how I felt. This whole Visions thing was kind of a sales pitch. If you were to make a series out of one of these episodes, which one sold you on doing a possible a Bad Batch sort of 9-10-ish episode season, which one would have the best potential that you would invest in and look forward to seeing another episode of? What do you think, Steve?
That's tricky for me because I think there's three of them which I think left me wanting to know more. Because like I said, Duel summed it all up in the timeline, but I still want to know more about who this character is roaming around with this droid. And if he's not a Jedi and he's not a Sith, what the hell is he, right? Is he like what's the name of that big thing in Rebels that they went to? He was the Force, but he wasn't one or the other. What was his name?
Well, the Bendu.
Bendu, yeah. So I mean, is he a Bendu type? Who knows? But I think if we were to watch a series, oh man, that's tricky because Ninth Jedi demands a series, so we can get to the bottom of that one. But I don't think as much as I don't know, not as much as the Duel. I think Duel would have to have a series for sure because there's some interesting stuff going on, and it's got all the characters that we associate to, but in a different style. But I kind of want to know more about that elder as well. I want to know about that old dude and where he came from. And it's tricky.
The elder's dead.
Yeah, but there's got to be a story behind it, you know. So yeah, I think I've just got to go with. I would say Ninth Jedi or Duel, one or both of them. I'm going to do both.
Oh, you can't do both. You're a fence sitter.
In that case, I'd have to go. I think there's. I want to see more of Ninth Jedi, but I kind of go back to what Jamie's been saying all through this, which is it's just gonna be a bunch of Jedis. So that's why I think I would go with Duel. I would go with Duel. Duel, I want to see more.
That has the least potential for constant Jedis, I would say. You still have lightsabers, but you could get a
Jedi. You could get a Jedi, right? Yeah. He would probably have just as much disdain. No, actually, no, because he says if only he was a Jedi. So yeah, I don't know. Duel. There you go, Jamie.
In terms of story and potential for a series, I would have to go with Ninth Jedi. That's just they wrote it as if it was the pilot for a series. Like it was a perfect lead in to another few episodes. So that was definitely the one I think I would have been most interested in seeing a series of. Yeah. Ninth Jedi.
I agree with you on that one because the Ninth Jedi was what sparked me to ask this question. It seemed like it was a sales pitch, not in a negative way. It was just like, we're going to make you want more of this. And although they did have the luxury of extra time to do it, but man, I would still love to see like this sort of Shogun sort of thing with the Duel. I'd love to see more of that because there is less of a master we call it master Jedi sort of feel than
the loner. It's the drifter, right?
Yeah,
it's that thing we all say is Star Wars. You know, when it comes to Mandalorian, it's that drifter. It's that Western. It's that.
You can still have the Force, but you now have the grime and the dirtiness and the hunter and the gatherer sort of thing.
Because we know the young girl is gonna aspire to be some sort of Jedi in the Ninth Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, it's going to all be about being a Jedi, whereas there's something else in the Duel, something else. So what is it? And we got this disrupted empire, right? We got these ragtag scum and villainy guys out there raiding places. And yeah, I don't know.
What I liked about this series, wrapping this up, what I really liked about the series is what I really like about Star Wars, the smaller stories that are being told. Now, again, these were not all canon. These were people's renditions of a Star Wars story. But when we talk about Tales of Jabba's Palace, Tales of the Cantina, from a certain point of view, these are all what I really enjoy about Star Wars, just a mini story about something in this universe. And I kind of hope that this continues for another season. It also reminded me, we talked about a couple weeks ago about The Matrix. It reminded me of The Matrix Reloaded in a way too. Those stories were part of the universe of The Matrix, but they were done in those animation styles were done so unique and so different that it allowed the directors and creators of this short little episode, to take it to where they wanted to go without having to impact the Matrix world. And strange enough, some of it did have an impact, but
Are you
I
talking
kinda
about
like
the
that.
Animatrix?
Yeah. Oh, it's the Animatrix. Sorry, I said Reloaded.
Matrix
Yes, the
Reloaded was the second movie.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
the
Animatrix.
Animatrix, all of those stories were canon.
Yeah.
Uh,
The effect of people leaving the Matrix and stuff like that. Thank you. Yeah. So I really enjoyed those little mini stories that are kind of outside the main story of whatever's happening. So I hope we see more of this. And I really would hope to see actual canon stories like again, I keep saying Tales of Jabba's Palace. So let's see a whole season full of episodes.
You just want Reese. You just want some Reese.
No, it's not just about that, man. I just like little stories about that. I got excited when I saw Grand, and I also got excited when I saw a Death Star droid with a gun, or with Doug driving the probe droid. That made me excited. Tusken Raider just kind of going and then getting shot 12 times in a second. It was really fun to watch. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Anything to add before we finish up this episode?
I still prefer Love, Death and Robots for a look into different styles of animation and storytelling.
That was really good. But there's no that one's just anything. You just write a story about
that's
anything.
what I mean. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah. So
this reminded me of that, but you had to have a Jedi, and you have to say I got a bad feeling about this. It honestly felt like a competition, you know.
Take a drink.
yeah.
No, yeah.
Jamie, any last words?
Nope. No, I think I'm good. I think we covered it all.
All right. That being said, thank you everybody for watching out there and on YouTube. If I'm trying this out, we're going to put this one on YouTube. And thank you for listening out there, out on podcast land. Jamie, where can you find a Neil?
Space Hindu, Google it.
There you go. So he's got art, photography. He's on Instagram and on Twitter. Steve, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram under the guise of Shitspeckled Muppet Fart, where you can find me building my pirate Deadpool. I'm loving it.
Is it going well?
I'm getting involved with so much. I'm making ruffled waistbands right now.
Ooh.
That's hard as shit. It really is. You need to do like 4 times the amount of fabric that you need to wrap around your waist, and then sew it in the middle and gather it. I'm just sitting there on the sewing machine getting frustrated, going, Ali, are you sure this would be right? Am I sure I'm doing this right? So yeah, it's been a challenge, but man, it's going to be ready. And then Halloween's coming soon, man. And I've got an amazing photo shoot booked up. I don't know if you guys saw the photo shoot that Ali did a few weeks back out in the storms that we had. She did a Ray costume. So hopefully you'll be seeing some of those photos come out soon. She went out with Insta Dave, who does all the fire and light stuff. Got some great shots with her as Ray. You're really good.
I haven't seen that one yet. I heard you guys talking about the storm, but I haven't had a chance. I've been kind of off and on Instagram lately just because just want to take a break. But yeah, I got to check that out now.
Yeah, because we got a lightsaber. We got a lightsaber in the house now. Look.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. We got
more Jedis, Jamie.
We got the Graphics repaired saber.
What's the t-shirt say again, Jay?
I fully nope, Jedi. I fully support owning real life lightsabers.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Keep an eye out for that. But there's some good stuff coming up. I'm going to be doing a Halloween based shoot in the next couple of weeks here.
You're going to have Deadpool done by Halloween?
Oh, I'll have that done by Halloween.
Awesome.
Because I don't need an excuse to wear something and have fun, and I'll wear that a lot.
Nice.
But there'll be another Halloween based one, more horror-ish.
As for me, the Outer Rim Rookie, you can find it here on our YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Did my last troop in Comox, one of my favorite troops of all time. Check it out. Lots of fun. I meet Andy Everson there and go to his studio where his frigging collection is just incredible, and got to see the real life painted helmets that he does there. So Andy Everson is everywhere. And check us out on Instagram, Twitter, or Instagram and Facebook for Outer Rim Rookie. As for the show, all the links down below here. Generation X-Wing, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the website, generationxwing.com. We have t-shirts for sale at TeePublic. We have Patreon. Hope you enjoy the show. Like, subscribe if you're watching this. Like, subscribe if you're not watching this. And other than that, next week we're talking about the thing that's right behind Steve down below here. Desperado. Jamie's hosting that episode because it's movie night and it's his pick. So we're going to look forward to Antonio Banderas and Desperado. So hope you join us next week. Other than that, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
I'm a Jedi.
Nope.
Jedi.